Thank you for joining us for this presentation about the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. I'm Megan Vincent, and presenting with me today is Renee Erlinson. And we are going to cover part one of the CLNA, as we like to call it, and we will record a second presentation for you on the second section of the CLNA because it is such a large aspect of Perkins 5. So I would like to introduce the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment to you. This is one of the most significant changes introduced in the Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act, otherwise known as Perkins 5. This new Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment is a requirement, and in front of you on the screen is what the law states in terms of requiring this needs assessment. The CLNA is something that needs to be updated every 2 years on the local level, so it isn't something that has to be done annually. We realize that there is a similar requirement in ESSA, but unfortunately it does not meet the requirements of the Perkins 5 Act, so each school receiving Perkins funds will need to complete the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. While the CLNA may appear to be simply an exercise in compliance, it brings a lot of great opportunities to you at the local level. You can make certain that your programs and programs of study are aligned to the local workforce needs and economic priorities. It'll help you ensure that your local Perkins eligible recipients are serving each learner equitably. It enables eligible recipients to better direct resources towards programs and programs of study that lead to high skill, high wage, and in-demand occupations and activities that address equity and opportunity gaps. It creates a platform for coordinating and streamlining existing program review and school improvement processes to bring focus to strategic directions, and it provides a structured way to engage key stakeholders regularly around the quality and impact of local CTE programs and systems.
So what information is needed within the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment? Well, we are going to ask you for student performance data. If you remember from Perkins 4, a lot of that student performance data was listed as 1S2, 1S3, 3S1, that sort of thing. And we are still collecting it that way, but we are hoping to get the information to you ahead of time. You can also use your GEMS data on this as well. Size, scope, and quality is something that each state had to determine individually and share that with the federal government. And we have another webinar specifically on size, scope, and quality, so we won't go over that right now. As Megan stated, we are looking at labor market alignment. This is brand new from Perkins 4 to Perkins 5. This is a change. And you do have another video that will be coming out shortly from the Department of Labor explaining how the labor market alignment works and what tools you can use for that. Progress towards implementing CTE programs and programs of study. If you recall from Perkins 4, our programs of study used to require 3 years of coursework for students to be considered concentrators. It is now 2 years of curriculum, plus some academic crosswalking to make sure the students have the academic skills necessary for their pathway. And work-based learning, as well as dual credit, are recommended to complete that pathway. Recruitment, retention, and training of faculty and staff is another big piece of Perkins 5. We do know that at the state level we are working on that, but we do need to know what you do locally to see how you can recruit and retain teachers in your CTE areas. We also want to see what progress is happening toward improving access and equity for students within CTE. Again, Perkins 5 has a much broader definition of special populations that can be found on the OPI website. So here are some questions for districts. What role should stakeholders and stakeholder engagement play up front in your input? What role should stakeholders and stakeholder engagement play annually? As Megan said before, your Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment only needs to be every other year. However, these meetings should continue every year so that you are staying very much up to date with your business and industry needs. Where does the district want to invest your resources? In the new Perkins application, we are going to ask you to prioritize how you want to use your resources and for what purposes. What does the district want to prioritize in the local application?
So what information should locals collect? In these next few slides, we're going to show you what the law says exactly and then talk about what that means. The Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment must contain an evaluation of CTE concentrators' performance on the core performance indicators. While eligible recipients already are required to do this as part of their local plans under Perkins 4, the evaluation now must at a minimum include a performance analysis of the subgroups as defined in ESSA and the expanded list of special populations. We have been doing this, as it has mentioned, but we will now be doing this by career pathways and by special populations with disaggregated data. Remember, concentrators are now defined by 4 semesters and 2 credits, which is also a change.
So what role should stakeholder engagement play in upfront input? You should already have advisory committees established, as these were mandated in Perkins 4 back in 2008, and you had to upload your advisory committee minutes into your Perkins application for the past several years. You may need to broaden your advisory group to include the categories noted above, or perhaps visit with your local 2-year college for advisory partnerships. We will continue to ask for you to upload advisory minutes in eGrants this year. So the law does ask for representatives of CTE programs in a local education agency or educational service agency, including teachers, career guidance and academic counselors, principals, and other school leaders, administrators, and specialized instructional support personnel and paraprofessionals. Along with those, we should have representatives from programs at the post-secondary level, state board or local workforce, parents and students, representatives of special populations, representatives of regional or local agencies, serving out-of-school youth or homeless students, and representatives of Indian tribes and tribal organizations in the state where applicable, and any other stakeholders in your community that you feel would be valuable in helping you meet your goals for this plan. So here you see what the law says, that we do need to consult with our stakeholders on an ongoing basis. Let's call that annually. So what does the law mean? We're asking you to continue your consultation with stakeholder groups involved in the local needs assessment development with specific parameters determined by the eligible agency. When you look at the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment, you will see there are questions that you're going to rate yourself on how well you're doing on the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. I believe the scale is 1 to 4. We don't expect everyone to have perfect scores this first year. We are looking to see how people are working toward their goals over a number of years.
So where does the district want to invest resources? In other words, how will we align the funding that we receive with the priorities in the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment? Here's what the law says, and here's what OPI interprets the law to mean. The law specifies the required uses of funds that must be addressed by the local eligible recipient. The local application should require enough detail to document the impact of those funds on the requirement. The most important change to recognize is that the allocation of resources by local eligible recipients must be aligned with the results of the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. This is a significant shift from Perkins 4. Essentially, if it's not listed in the CLNA, it's not an approvable purchase. Perkins is no longer a wish list, but it is a true alignment of matching spending to the strategic plan of your CTE programs and the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. So what is OPI's role? The Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment will become part of your Perkins 5 e-grant application. The new Perkins 5 e-grant application will require less narrative and take less time to complete once you have the CLNA done. The state will review and approve local applications to ensure they align with and reflect the CLNA you have completed. The CLNA has a rating rubric on each page. We want you to self-assess your progress over the next 4 years. You will not be denied funds if you are working towards your goals.
Thank you for joining us for this first presentation about the Comprehensive Local Needs Assessment. On the screen before you is the names of each of the specialists who are your Perkins liaisons, and please do feel free to call us if you have any questions or would like additional help. Thank you.